Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. How are you this morning? And welcome to Complex PTSD TV. My name's Linda. I'm your certified trauma recovery coach down under. And welcome to today's live broadcast. If you're here for the first time, g'day, say g'day. And if you're one of our regular class members, let me know how you're going today and where you're from, whereabouts in the world are you from. It's wonderful to be here to share some information with you this morning, which I believe is very, very important for us with complex PTSD. It's about adults behaving badly. Now, I was talking about this concept with some fellow coaches of mine, and they asked me for an example. So along the way, I will give you an example of adults behaving badly. However, I want to give us some information before we get too deep into it. I want to give us some information about adults behaving badly in order that we've got something to think about. One of our greatest challenges with complex PTSD is learning how to find our voice. And one of the chief things that we need along the way is an encourager. So somebody who says, yeah, you've got to stand up and use your voice in this situation. However, before we get to that stage, remember to hit like and subscribe and to know when I'm live so you get notifications, and also to share so that people who are the silent majority when it comes to complex PTSD get a chance to find information that will help them break the cycle, not only for their life but for the generations to come. Okay. So first of all, what is an adult behaving badly? So I want you to think about it from the perspective of I'm an adult, you're an adult, and adult behaviour is expected. However, adults who behave badly are adults who keep absconding or putting down their responsibility to behave as an adult. Now, oftentimes there's reasons for that, but what you want to know is that this adult, instead of continuing to behave badly, so in a way that not only harms their life, but harms our life too and makes us feel unsafe, we want to know if the adult is prepared to do not just their internal journey, but also begin to take responsibility for their behaviour. So it's not just about offering us an apology, it's offering up the willingness to go and actually look at their internal journey and change their behaviour. Now, the reason why we seem to come across adults who behave badly is because in our childhood, we actually had a lot of adults behaving badly around us, and it's our norm. So what we need to be able to do is go, right, adults are behaving badly around me, and I'm allowed to say, look, I don't want to put up with that behaviour. Okay, it's not okay that you blame me for everything that's happening. It's not okay that you apologise and then repeat the same behaviour. It's not okay that in repeating the same behaviour, you make me feel unsafe all the time. Like, in order to have a healthy relationship, we want somebody who's consistent, that even if we've got a mental health challenge, we want to be in a relationship where we know that not only can we be consistent, but we want to know that the person we're with is consistent, because then we both grow together, okay? When we're in a relationship with somebody who won't sit down and have the hard conversations, it's impossible to have things change in the relationship. So we want to be able to say, right, things aren't changing. You're leaving me with no option but to draw a line in the sand because your behaviour is unhealthy. You're not taking responsibility, as an adult for your own life. And in not doing that, then you're not helping me to feel safe in this relationship. And it works both ways, definitely. Good morning, Suzanne. But we have to be able to say and recognise when we've got complex PTSD that another adult's behavior is not healthy. It's bad. You know, your bad behavior. So think about finances. If you're in a relationship with somebody who continues to spend money and not stick to a budget, then financially you're just going to go downhill repeatedly. And we all know that, you know, doing the same thing over and over again, well, it's I wouldn't say it's a sign of stupidity, but it's not going to get anything changed in our life, is it? We're not going to be able to say, right, we're going to have a budget. We're both going to agree to stick to a budget. And that way, not only are we going to get ourselves out of the financial challenge that we've got, but we're also going to save towards our future. Now, if you've got somebody, an adult behaving badly who continues to spend money, they're leaving you with no option but to stand up and use your voice and say, that's not good enough. Okay, we're adults. We have to choose to be responsible for what we're doing with our money. Okay, irrespective of our past. One of the greatest things that's really impacted me this last week is that a husband and wife had separated and they have 3 kids. And he went and poured petrol over their car, and basically they all lost their life because he was an adult behaving badly to the extreme, but he also, I mean, he took his own life as well. But people say, oh, you know, he had a mental health problem. Well, no, he had a bad behaviour problem. He didn't get his own way. His behaviour in his marriage, from what I understand, was not healthy. So the wife drew the line in the sand and said, we're not going to live like that. And then because he didn't get his own way, he, you know, people are, you know, the first thing they throw up is, oh, you know, he's got a mental health problem, which means that everyone who's got mental health challenges think, oh, well, you know, I can't talk about it because then they're going to think that I'm crazy and I'm going to do something stupid. Well, no, there's millions of us that live with a mental health challenge and we do life responsibly, okay? So people who don't do life responsibly when they're an adult and they don't take responsibility for their behaviour, their thoughts, their emotions, then they're going to keep us going down the same track. And we have to learn to use our voice and say, no, I'm not going to tolerate this. There has to be another solution, or you leave me with no option but to say, we need time out. And I'm not talking about divorce or separation, but sometimes the consequences of somebody's behaviour is that we need to separate until you want to take responsibility for your behaviour, for what you're doing, for your unsafe practices in this relationship. So for us, I wrote down some questions that we need to be able to ask ourselves in order that we know that we're on the right path. So we need to ask ourselves, are we doing our internal work? So are we changing up what's happening for us internally so that we don't keep going down the same road, so we don't keep getting the same results, okay? And are we learning boundaries? Now, boundaries aren't shut the gate, build a fence, and no one gets in. Boundaries are flexible. Boundaries are adults sitting down and having a conversation and say, well, no, I'm not going to put up with that behaviour. Obviously, we're not going to talk like that. I'm just straightforward. You know, because this is how it makes me feel, all right? And yes, I've got to learn how to manage my feelings, but you also need to manage your behaviour as well. Good morning, Laura. Okay, are we, with complex PTSD, understanding our needs, and are we standing up and voicing what we need in the relationship? So ask yourself the question, or are you shoving down what you need, and which is what we did as children, by the way. We shoved down our needs and just, you know, kept ourselves safe, emotionally safe. So we've got to break these habits, all right? Are you working towards finding your voice, all right? So being able to speak up in whatever capacity that has to happen. Are you able to say what respect is for you and what it's not? All right, so don't just say, oh, it's this or that. Have a sit down and think about, what does me being respected mean? Now, for me, one of the things that show respect is communication. If I can communicate with you and we can communicate honestly, then we can solve anything. We can conquer the world. But if you don't communicate in a consistent, healthy manner, then that makes me feel really unsafe. And I don't know where you're at because I'm not a mind reader. And so that's disrespectful for me. Now, other people might not feel that way, and that's okay. But in my life, I have to have that awareness so that I build into my life people who are similar and have similar needs, that we communicate. We communicate what we need, where we're at, and it makes it really healthy. You actually end up with really healthy relationships when you communicate. And you can say, this is where I'm at. So yesterday I had to have a conversation with someone where I said, look, I'm sorry, we're in a business relationship and I'm not your coach. And of course I didn't just be blunt about it, but that's the essence of the conversation, was I had to find my voice and say, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going. And because we're two adults, we're able to have that conversation and continue building a healthy continue building a healthy business relationship. And that's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to go back and forth and say, this is what I'm responsible for. I made mistakes and this is what I'm hoping to build as well. All right. We want to change our perception. So we want to be able to see where we're going and have meaning in our life, which is when we can see where we're going, that's our meaning for doing everything. Okay. So think about your one next step and what you want to do, because then you're able to say, well, if that person's coming along, great, that's wonderful. If not, then I'm able to just let them do their own thing too, okay? It lets our heart relax rather than having to be tight and trying to hold on and control things, okay? So I want you to think about, is there adults in your life that you would say there are adults behaving badly? Okay, so ask the question, are they taking responsibility? And look, if they've been unwell, we don't expect anyone who's been unwell to take full responsibility overnight. But are they willing to take their one next step towards taking responsibility for their part in their life as well? All right. So one of my challenges over the years was always people pleasing. But when I have my own sense of self and my own sense of self-worth built, then I don't do that anymore. I'm able to say to people, look, I'm sorry, I can't go down this road. All right. It's not for me. It's not where I'm headed. So I want you to honour yourself, build your self-worth by saying, if I'm not being respected, then this relationship isn't for me. There are billions of people in the world, and so there are plenty of people we have the opportunity to rebuild our lives with, to take it slowly, to understand ourselves and what we need, and to be honest about what we need in a relationship rather than running around the rest of our lives being unhappy because we're shoving our emotions down. It's not worth it. Life is truly beautiful when we learn to speak up and say, this is what I need, and we learn to have the emotional conversations, and sometimes they're highly emotional. I know it is for me, well, it was for me when I started to learn how to speak up about what I need, because I was used to putting all my kids' needs before my own. But because I trained them to talk and communicate, when they got old enough, they were able to say to me, Mum, you need to talk about this, okay? It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience along the way, but it's not easy, but it's worth it. I want you to remember, above and beyond everything else, you are loved, you belong, and you are safe to start being an adult with responsibility, and put lines in the sand that say, remember, sand's movable. Put a line in the sand and say, no, this is not respectful, and I need for these other adults to stop behaving badly. But I can't change them, but I can change my response to it. All right, have the most beautiful weekend. We're finally just about to head into autumn down under. And I can tell you, I'm so pleased. And I will see you next week with more. Oh, hang on. Laura says, Yes, this is so true and very hard when it's family and even mother who is the central person of the family. Absolutely, it's hard. Um, it really is hard with family, and the only person we can change is ourselves. And what happens is when we build a solid sense of self, pardon me, into our lives, what happens is we then go into the family. I visit part of my family every few years, and I know that one person in particular will start the drama train. Yeah. And so I'm aware of when that energy starts into the room because you can feel it coming. And I just go, no, that's not me, that's not who I am. And I don't buy into the conversation. But honestly, it took me a lot of years to build all of this into my life. So I know that it's okay that I choose not to involve myself in all of that. Okay, it's okay to step back, because I can promise you when we step back from our family, somebody else steps in to fill the hole. They really do. I've just seen it time and time again. Our health, our mental health is far more important than maintaining the family rules and the family social norms and everything, because without our mental health, we won't be able to function. Trust me, I lost all of mine, and we have to learn how to make those decisions and make our mental health a priority. Okay, thanks girls, thanks for the feedback, and I will see you all again next week. Bye for now.